Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with another video today. And guys, you might be wondering, what is this video? What is this thumbnail? I honestly don't know, guys. This might be the dumbest video I think I have ever made in my whole life. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I'll have a video dumber than this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And you're wondering, like, why is this video being made? Well, if you guys have been on the internet for the past couple days, you've seen this, like, discussion going around across the internet about, could 100 men beat one gorilla? Now, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so before we get into the video, if it's 100 just normal men versus one gorilla, I think the gorilla will come out on top. Like, the gorilla is crazy strong, guys. And, like, the average men, if they don't know how to fight or are strong or, like, have any type of, like, physicality, they're gonna lose, right? However, if you were to have, like, a really skilled combat person, like, I don't know, 100 Francis Ngannous versus one gorilla, I think the 100 Francis Ngannous would win, right? And that's kind of what I was thinking of doing, like 100 Francis Ngannous battles. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, that's kind of cheating, because then just the Francis Ngannous have the KO power. They're actually really big. Yeah, that's really all you need when it comes to gorilla. So I thought, well, why don't we make it a bit more interesting? Instead, having, like, one of the biggest, like, most scariest UFC fighters fighting a gorilla. How about 100 of the smallest UFC fighters, one of the greatest, mind you, Demetrious Johnson. 100 Demetrious Johnsons versus one gorilla. Now, this is actually something I really thought was very interesting, guys. This is a very interesting, like, circumstance. Because you have, like, a gorilla, right? And I'm going to be using the Western gorilla, that particular gorilla, for this video. Obviously, in a one-on-one circumstance, the gorilla would absolutely maug Demetrious Johnson. That's not even a discussion. But what about 100 Demetrious Johnsons, right? Because Demetrious Johnson is he's one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. And even though he's really small, 100 Demetrious Johnsons could potentially do it. So I thought, let's take a look at that. Let's look at the stats between both of these sides, these contenders, and let's see who's going to come out on top, right? So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so for the Western gorilla, remember, that's the type of gorilla I'm going to be looking into this. For its stats, its weight is 350 pounds. Actually, kind of light. I actually thought it would have been like maybe like 400 pounds. It's actually a bit lighter than I thought. For its average height, and I'm only counting male Western gorillas, not like females. Its average height is 5'6" to 6 foot. So it's around, like, it's still bigger than Demetrious Johnson, but the lowest it can get is like kind of close to the height of Demetrious Johnson, right? And for its reach, and this is the big one right here, 96 inches of reach. That is almost, I would say, 30 inches of a difference between a Western gorilla and a Demetrious Johnson, right? That is a pretty big difference. And also, mind you, the Western gorilla is fucking, like, insanely strong. This gorilla, I'm pretty sure the gorilla can lift, like, yeah, the Western gorilla is actually able to lift about 10 times of their body weight. Meaning, if you were to times 350 times 10, that is 3,500 pounds. That is actually insane. The moment, like, me processing that, that's actually kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know what, like, the max weight Demetrious can, like, lift or something like that. Probably, like, 300. Probably, like, the gorilla's weight at max. My guess he's probably can, like, lift maybe, like, for, like, bench press, probably, like, 270. Maybe, like, I don't know, 250 at max. I don't know. But he ain't being... Demetrious is not being a Western gorilla when it comes to strength. That's pretty clear. And... for its speed, mind you, the gorilla's speed can run up to 25 miles per hour. That's pretty quick, I'd say. Like, that gorilla's gonna come at you really, really quick. And I would assume it can throw its hands pretty fast. So, you know, Demetrious probably doesn't have the best when it comes to the striking department, and I think the gorilla might be able to do good on the striking department when it comes to fighting a Demetrious Johnson, right? But again, this is 100 Demetrious Johnsons, right? Now, what are the keys for the Western gorilla to get this job done, guys, right? Like, what are the keys for its victory? So, for me, the two big ones are just beat the DJs up just constantly. You have the strength, speed, and reach advantage on your side. Use that dramatically. Use that to your advantage fully. Do not let the DJs get any type of advantage on you when you have all those three advantages. Like, those are crazy good advantages to have. And another one, for me at least, make sure the DJs don't get on your back, right? Because, like, I'm gonna explain it later when I move on to DJ, but just don't let the DJs get on your back, because that might be a bit of a trouble. Alright, now for Demetrious Johnson's stats, mind you. His weight is 125 pounds, very light. For people who are new in the UFC, the lightest weight class is flyweight, mind you. The height for Demetrious Johnson is actually 5'3". So, even the smallest Western gorilla we put up against 100 Demetriuses is still going to be pretty bigger than Demetrious Johnson, mind you. And the reach is 66 inches of reach. Yeah, he's not going to be able, unless he goes in the pocket with the gorilla, which at that point he's probably going to get cooked. You know, he's not going to be able to crack the gorilla at all. However, what gives Demetrious an advantage, I would say, in this fight is the fact that there's 100 of them. Now, because also, people don't talk about this, but Demetrious has a great fight IQ. So I would say the leader of the Demetriuses would gather up to all the other Demetriuses, and the leader would tell the other Demetriuses what to do and how to deal with this. And if one of the Demetriuses is in the pocket with the gorilla, he might be able to catch him and wobble the gorilla, giving hope for the other Demetriuses who are helplessly watching this Demetrious sacrifice himself to land a good shot on the gorilla. Like, I could honestly see, I could honestly see, like, the Demetrious Johnsons, like, circling around the gorilla to try and, like, make it scared. And then when the gorilla tries to, like, catch on one person, the Demetriuses might have to sacrifice one of their own to get the gorilla to stop moving. Then they jump on it, then they, like, ground and pound the gorilla and try to get submission, but I don't think they can. The gorilla's neck is, like, I mean, look at the gorilla's neck. The gorilla's neck is, like, absolutely massive. I don't know if the Demetriuses are going to be able to get a rear naked choke on the gorilla, but they might. Maybe with a leg lock or something like that, or an arm bar, you know? Something like that, they could potentially get its neck or something like that. I don't know. It's like the Demetriuses are going to have to think really carefully of how to deal with this gorilla right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, what are the keys for victory for Demetrious Johnson, right? So the keys to victory for the Demetrious Johnsons, right? For 100 of them, you just use your numbers to your advantage, right? Try to get a good grip on the gorilla. Try to surround it. Like, group it up and get all of your Demetriuses to surround the gorilla. And then try to, like, get on top of it or something. I don't know. Like, dog, I can honestly see the Demetriuses just ganging up on the gorilla and just eventually just wearing it down and just beating on it, like, aggressively. And, you know, I would also say, have the smartest Demetriuses be the leaders. Let them decide what to do. I'm trying to come up with this like it's some sort of like battle simulation. What the hell is this? But another thing that you gotta try and do is, I talked about with the gorilla, but not in fully. Try to get on the gorilla's back and try to get a choke on it. Maybe it could be any type of choke. Maybe a leg lock choke and rear naked choke, something like that. Try to get a choke on the gorilla. That's probably going to be your best bet to try and beat this gorilla. Because obviously, if it's 100 Demetriuses versus one gorilla, I don't know if they can physically like beat it down to a pulp. Maybe, but if one Demetrious is able to get a good grip on the gorilla's neck, that's going to cause the gorilla to go frantic, make it lose its strength, make it a bit weaker. That would allow the other Demetriuses to then jump on the gorilla and start to beat on it. Now, personally, guys, for my final verdict on this potential matchup, guys, is I'm going to give it to the Demetriuses. I think that you have to understand, 100 people is already difficult for a gorilla, right? But if you have 100 like well combat skilled fighters, let alone one of the greatest fighters of all time like Demetrious Johnson, yes, he is very short, but still he has the skills. He can strike, he can grapple. You know, you have a very skilled person and you have 100 of them versus one gorilla. I think the 100 Mighty Mouse are going to get it done. But guys, that is me giving my thoughts on the whole 100 people versus gorilla take. And I decided to try and spice up a little bit, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this very silly video. You know, tell me what you guys thought about this. Do you think 100 Demetriuses would be a gorilla or not? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!